Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com. You can find cool stuff in stock every day, and check out our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, where you can find the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. And finally, check out our new Altar Sleeves. They have a brand new Mythic Frames Kickstarter right now. Check out Kickstarter.com/projects/Mythic-Frames to check out their new Mythic Frames, or Google Mythic Frames, or whatever, you'll find it. It is a sweet new Kickstarter, and apparently, Aaron, you're going to have some stuff from that at some point?
Yeah. Also, is it me or are the slides not moving?
Are the slides moving now?
It's you. They're
okay, it's
for
possible.
Me.
Okay.
I don't think I moved the card hoarder one. That was my bad.
No, the card hoarder one moved for me.
Okay.
At least.
Okay.
I mean,
good.
I might have clicked away.
Now
I will
don't
say,
know.
I think it every week, and I never say it. I love the card hoarder logo. The card hoarder with the Viking dragon motif
Oh, yeah.
is like the coolest logo.
Yeah, I was with them when they did that revamp, and it was very, very well received.
I love it so much.
And they haven't even used, as somebody who used to work there, they received so many elements as part of that overhaul that there's, I remember so many icons and so many images that I think haven't even been used yet. So there's more out there, I think.
Well, if you got a t-shirt for me, card hoarder,
And their t-shirts are super comfortable. Let me tell you, I still have the two that I got, and I wear those babies everywhere.
Nice.
Well, okay then. We kick it off with our first pick in our giveaway after saying hello to my two co-hosts, which we basically already have done. Aaron,
Hi.
Ruben,
Hi,
you guys are
everybody.
great.
We're raving about our
fine.
sponsors. That's what
Yes.
that's what they're here for.
Yeah, I'm Aaron. That's Ruben. Let's go on.
Yeah, whatever. There's marks. It's fine. Get your chance at a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com by typing !raffle in the chat. But subscribe first to get 2 chances to win. And don't forget our raid at the end of the show to support a member of the community. Enter your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight, because it is first pick time. It is big announcement day time. Wizards gave us way more than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
They
Before
gave
you know
us
it,
just a million things today. I was not, so I didn't realize that we were getting Modern Horizons 2 stuff today.
oh really?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was today. I thought we were getting just like general updates. I didn't know we were getting previews today. And then I'm just like in a chat with some friends of mine, and they're like, hey, Modern Horizon 2 previews, including Counterspell and a Saga land. And I'm like, those aren't real.
Right.
Like,
I was
I
the
couldn't
opposite.
find them on any of the real on any of like the sites. Like it wasn't on Scryfall, it wasn't on Mythic Spoiler. It was like, I found it on this random other website, and I'm like, these are fake. These can't possibly.
Yeah, and see, I was the opposite. I was chomping at the bit because I didn't understand how time zones work. And so I spent the whole day just anxiously looking at my computer going, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And their Pacific time, which is 2 hours behind me. And so I spent the whole day just ready. And then finally, at like the end of the workday, they were like, here you go. And I'm like, I was so excited.
Well, Wizards has this sort of unique problem. It's a good problem, but it is a problem where they have a whole bunch of products coming out in a usually short period of time, and they have to figure out just the right way to package those things so that you're kind of hyped for all of it and not just one little piece of it. Well, so they called this one the Summer of Legend. We get to brand the entire summer. It's cool.
We got Hot Boy Summer. We got Summer of 69.
Yep.
We've got what else we got? Summer lovin' happened so fast.
500 days of summer.
Right.
There's 500 days of it. There you go.
And now we've got this.
Well,
Of course, you could change it to like summer previews happen so fast.
and now we have
And they
Dark
did
Alliance.
happen so fast. All right.
Come on, Evan,
Come
you
on,
got
I
it.
can't. I don't have the right lyrics, but what I do have is they really quickly touched on Dungeons and Dragons: Dark Alliance. There were many like Dark Alliance games back in the Xbox days, and I think they put them on PlayStation as well. And this is kind of sort of the revamp of this action role-playing game franchise, and that's cool because Magic Legends didn't seem to get there
Yeah.
a lot at all.
I've seen no chatter since
seen
the
zero.
day that it got previewed, or like the day that everybody did it. There was like one day, and then everyone was like, "This game's kind of Garbo, and then no one has talked about it.
Right, I haven't heard anything since the negative reviews came out, and Day 9 famously came out of the woodwork and was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where I got some early access or whatever, and I didn't just want to come out and bash it or whatever, and I didn't want to be like that guy who just started, dunking on it. So I was like, maybe it's just me, right? Maybe I don't think it's very much fun.
Right.
And
well, it's funny because I remember when that early access event was going on, because I came from WoW, I came from WoW, I came from Diablo, and so this product should have been a home run for me. And so I remember when, people were advertising that they were part of this early access event, I remember going like, Evan, can I get in there? Is that something I can do? And then you were even just like, I wouldn't worry about it. And I was like, oh.
Aaron, I've played it, please. I know you think you want this. You don't really want this.
Let me save you from yourself.
And I'm so glad, because I remember even the preview event was bogged down by lag issues, or people couldn't even get it on their computers. Actual streamers that already have good gaming rigs were like, I cannot run this thing. And so even from the beginning, it was a disaster.
It just it sucks to look back, because I feel like there's potential in all these projects, and somewhere along the line someone said don't use the real artwork, and somewhere along the line someone said don't use the actual spell names.
I mean, there's a lot of things that went wrong with it, and
just so many.
But if the company you look at the Dungeons and Dragons Magic the Gathering crossovers, those work because everybody's in the same building together. Everybody understands what the systems mean. If the people who are designing the game were in that building, it'd be a great game. But it got outsourced, it got watered down, it got mistranslated, mistransliterated, names weren't used, images weren't used. It was it became a Kroger brand version of itself very quickly.
Kroger.
And
Kroger's good stuff.
Or a more regional reference that you get.
And
Costco version.
Oh no, we have Kroger here. I'm a Kroger fan.
Okay.
Right, and and again, this isn't Magic Legends. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying this is going to be bad. I'm saying that the previous endeavor didn't go so well. My fingers are crossed. I hope they do a great job.
So let's talk about the things that hopefully will be better.
Yes. Well, hopefully it'll be better as we're moving on to Modern Horizons 2. Oh boy. Hold on tight. Because we got the enemy fetches, and they said they were going to print the enemy fetches.
Yeah.
This isn't a surprise. But what is a nice surprise is, here's the entire layout of the products. And man, it looks amazing there for the collector boosters that are going to be worth $1 million.
Yep.
But we do have extended art treatments of the fetch lands. That's hot fire.
Yeah.
Goody. But, oh my God, they knew. Thank God they knew. From Timespell Remastered, the old frames were going to be insanely popular. Well, yeah, they are. And check out the old frames that you can go along with your other old frames.
Those are excellent.
Fetch lands.
$100 million for all of those. I mean, this is the home run of all home runs.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. I mean, if you play an older format, odds are you've played a deck that uses fetches, unless you're, a weirdo like me that uses, bazaars or something. But yeah, I mean, the audience for this is massive. And even seeing the reaction on Twitter, there were people that, don't normally empty their wallets for a lot of cards, and they were like, this is happening. Like, I need these.
It's wonderful how they have this very, wonderfully nostalgic border they can just put on any new frame card, and we're just like, oh my God,
and it changes the game. Yeah.
The lands look particularly good. I will say that some of the colors don't look good. Some of the text boxes don't translate. The lands are beautiful, and they're so unique, and they're so different than what the lands look like now, that having all of these options, all of them are going to be spectacular.
Oh, yeah. And so one of the things that they're doing, and they kind of sort of peppered it in there, so I may not be 100% on this, but they mentioned that they were going to do a card that's not in Modern, and they're going to do it in an old frame as part of some of the old frame treatments in the set. And one of the things they mentioned was the Buy a Box promo for Modern Horizons 2, which is Sanctum Prelate, which was originally only in Legacy because this card is incredibly powerful. But yeah, now you can get it from Conspiracy Take the Crown into Modern.
Right. And it's a great card. Again, the old border treatment white cards don't really look good with the old border treatment, in my opinion. But I mean, white getting Sanctum Prelate in Modern, that's a huge deal. That's a good way to power up Modern. So
yeah, the Death and Taxes has never really remained a force in Modern. It crops up from time to time and has these little like bursts of greatness, and then it kind of dies again. And so, anything that they can do to kind of make that a thing, I think is a good idea. And it's fine. I mean, obviously the decks it's good against, it's great against, and then the decks it's not, it's not like a lot of Death and Taxes. And so I think it's fine. And, the art is gorgeous. I like the old border frames in white. I don't have a problem with them. So I'm cool with this.
Yeah, for those who don't know or listen to the podcast, Sanctum Prelate is 2 white and a generic mana for a 2/2 Mythic Human Cleric as it enters the
one
battle.
White. 1 white and 2 white? No.
2 white and 1 generic
white,
mana.
White,
yeah.
generic. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, so 3 mana for
2
a
white
2
and a
generic.
generic.
I'm so ready for the weekend. I'm sorry.
It's okay. 3 mana for a 2/2.
This is not a card that you play.
You would never touch this card. It's got way too many moving parts for the Dredge player. It's like, can I just discard? Am I drawing now? What's happening?
Right.
As it enters the battlefield, you choose a number. Non-creature spells with mana value equal to the chosen number can't be cast.
We do get mana value, which is nice. On
That'll become
Sanctum
relevant
Prelate,
later.
which is awesome. And human, obviously huge in Modern as well.
Give humans more toys.
I mean, this is a $32 Mythic, so
Yes.
they're putting some good stuff in here, and I'll take it. Now, as we had mentioned earlier, here comes Counterspell, now legal in Modern.
Yeah, I saw this and I thought it was fake, and I'm still not convinced it's real. Because as Kendra pointed out, it has the M in the text box.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening with that?
That is a little weird.
Are we getting more of those, like Iconic Masters style, or is this just an old image?
It does say it's one of Magic's most iconic spells, which we understand.
Right, yeah.
Now, this borderless version, though, goodness,
Yeah.
that looks
Yeah.
amazing.
That looks gorgeous. I love that.
That
and
in
it looks
foil?
like the what were they? The Mana Vault, like the comic book styling. This is like a kind of style of art that we don't always get in Magic, and I love it so much. I don't love that we're getting Counterspell in Modern, I will say, but
Strap in for
I'm
that
over
one.
it.
I mean,
I'm over it. Take it.
Control in Modern has always been in sort of an interesting position, and through the years, Wizards has asked Control players like, "What do you feel you need to be good, or what do you feel you need to compete or to maintain?" And at first, they were like, "Well, we need Wasteland because we can't keep up with whatever." And then they were like, "No, we'll give you Field of Ruin." And then they were like, "We need Counterspell or we need Force of Will," and they gave you Force of Negation. And so, I don't know. I don't think this is really going to change anything. I always think Control in Modern is very precious. Like every time I face a Control deck, I'm just like, that's adorable. So I think it's fine. I think that, I think people are looking at, I think Control players think this is going to be the answer. And I think they think this is going to change the game. And I don't think it's going to move the needle in any sort of appreciable way. But if it's what they want, I mean,
Hold on. Are we back to Aaron says the new Modern Horizon set is going to do nothing for Modern?
No. I just don't think. What I'm saying though is that there are Control. What I'm saying is that there were Control players out there who said, if we can just get Counterspell, we will be competitive again. And I don't think it's going to make that. I don't think it's going to change that needle in any sort of way. I think you're still going to be as viable as you've always been. I don't think it's because it's suddenly going to make Control great and modern again. I think Control is just still going to be fine the way it's always just been fine.
Right. I think that it's also nice to have a format. I will change my mind because of the following. I think it's cool to have a format where you can have 2 untapped blue mana and pass the turn with Counterspell and have it be good. I think that's useful for like the pageantry and the provenance of Magic to be like, you can't really do that in Vintage or Legacy. Let that happen in Modern. It's like not even that good because like Cavern of Souls and Abrupt Decay exist, and like who cares if you have 2 mana counterspells?
And like
So,
Mana League
fine.
already exists in
Go
the
nuts.
format, and Mana League is still a fine 2 mana counterspell and does a lot of this work anyway. But
Right.
there's definitely something symbolic about
Sure.
putting counterspell.
I have gotten memory lapsed more times in the last week than I have in the previous 10 years combined. Thanks, Historic.
Thanks, Rogues.
Yeah.
Oof. Memory lapse it, and then Milia for 1.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, it's awful. Well, look, we go from they're putting some staples into Modern to Urza's Saga.
I can't with whatever this is.
Enchantment Land.
Right. So hold on here. It's called Urza's Saga. It's a saga. It's
And
an
it's an Urza's
enchantment.
land.
Yes, it's an enchantment land dash Erza's Saga. It's a rare from Modern Horizons. The first chapter, it gains tap, add a colorless mana, a Wingding.
Because it's a land.
Chapter 2, it gains, it doesn't lose the first ability, it gains 2 generic mana tap : create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control.
So like the thing that Erza makes.
Yes, and finally on the third chapter, you want to sacrifice this land, but you search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1. That means it needs a 0 or a 1 up in the top right corner. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. So no artifact lands, but everything else.
Right. So the last chapter has some very interesting rulings that were cleared up on Twitter. And as Evan said, there's a difference between 0 and null. So when people first saw this, they thought, oh, great, I can go get the artifact lands because they don't have a mana cost. But that doesn't mean it has a 0 mana cost. There's a difference in that. So you can't get Lotus Bloom, you can't get the artifact lands. And then when it says 1 colorless, it means 1 colorless. So for example, you can't get something like an Executioner's Capsule because it costs 1 black. And so very specific, very neat rulings on this that don't make it any less cool or any less powerful, but are something to think about when you're considering this card.
Weirdest, stupidest thing. Why does this exist? It's so stupid. This is a land. It sacrifices itself, first of all.
It gains abilities over time. Making creatures.
I love it.
Because this is the difference between the mana cost 0 and 1 or mana value 0 and 1. And so very, very important. But they do have this really cool sketched version.
I actually like that one better than the other one.
I do. I like it a lot. It's really neat. I bet it's going to look really cool.
I mean, the art is... I love the art for Sagas. I'm on board with Sagas in every set. Bring me Sagas constantly. Yes. I want them as often as I get Planeswalkers.
Sagas also universally make great phone wallpaper. I can't tell you how many times I had the Elsbeth Nightmare, I had the Chainer's Torment. Anytime that image comes out, it goes on the phone.
Yeah, the Mirari one I had on my phone. I was just going to say,
I had Mirari Conjecture for a while. I had the Fall of the Thran as my wallpaper for a while.
Yep. And those all look amazing. I just think Sagas, sort of as a storytelling tool in each set, is amazing. You can really tell the stories of whatever's going on in the characters' lives through these sagas. They're storytelling tools. That's what
I've also heard them described as just more reasonable takes on Planeswalkers.
They're fixed Planeswalkers. For all intents and purposes, they're fixed Planeswalkers. So it's cool. But ultimately, they have these sketch frame cards instead of flavor text. They've taken lines from the art description sent to artists when created each card's artwork. You'll see what they mean, they say, when previews begin on May 24th. Sure. All right, so Modern Horizons 2 is coming. Cool. Here we go. Dungeons & Dragons, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. I am also glad that they are using the hashtag MTGDND.
Yeah.
Not AFR, which is technically the set code because it's Adventures in the Forgotten Realms.
MTGDND is
MTGDND is... the set symbol is obviously fantastic. Here we have the key art, which shows D&D things, D&D. I mean, for God's sakes, Ruben, take it away. This is you, buddy. This is all you.
So, man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to the Forgotten Realms. We've got Andy the Dragon, because it's D and D, and they've got the dragon.
Come on.
It's fine. God. And we're getting some really exciting crossover implements and items that we've seen in Dungeons and Dragons many, many times, but we haven't seen in Magic. And we have Fireball, and we have Firebolt, and we have Bag of Holding, and we have a couple of... we've got a lot of the signposts, but we've never had the Vorpal Sword. We've never had Portable Hole, right? We've never had some of the real iconic... And we don't know what the card does yet, but we have a Beholder on a Magic card. And so we're going to get these really exciting crossovers, not to mention the fact that presumably this set is going to have legends and planeswalkers of various kinds. I saw whisperings that we're going to get a Dridst Duerden card.
Wow.
With really, we might get something like an Elminster card or a Mordenkainen, or these ancient names that have been around D&D for 50 years put onto Magic cards. And I think that that's just the coolest thing ever.
Well, tell us a little bit about these basic lands that look absolutely incredible.
I love the basic lands so much. They make me so happy. So something that happens when you play D&D is you have a Dungeon Master. And the Dungeon Master is like a player at the table. where they are the world as opposed to the main characters, and one of their jobs is to set the stage and tell the story. And there are it's essentially second person narrative. So if we were playing, for example, in a game of Mikes and Magic, I would say, all right, you all meet in a tavern. The lights are low. There's a din in the corner, and the barmaid comes up to you and asks you what you want to drink. It's second-person narrative, right? And we get flavor text with second-person narrative on the basic lands. And because the basic lands are so indelible to Magic, I think it's the perfect place to put that kind of, not really a fourth wall break, but second wall break. And I think that's the perfect spot to include that element of D&D.
Is this the first time they've ever had flavor text on basic lands? I'm trying to think, and I mean even from way back in the day, obviously non-basic lands or whatever, but basic.
I can't think of any that have basic land flavor text.
Well, we're not done, of course. We have 3 new preview cards they shared with us just to give us just an idea of what's going on in the set. A white artifact, an uncommon artifact called Portable Hole. No jokes, please, Aaron. Family show. When Portable Hole enters the battlefield, as they do, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until Portable Hole leaves the battlefield. That's a 1 mana answer to a lot of problems, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, and it's a very indelible artifact in D&D. I've used many a Portable Hole in many a D&D campaign across my career. Aaron has as well, apparently.
Aaron has so many.
Look at this. This is premier one mana removal. This is a really good card.
There you go. Well, also a really good card and a super flavorful card is Power Word Kill. Ruben, apparently this is like big stuff in D&D.
Yeah.
So Power Word Kill, there's a couple of spells that are power words of various kinds. Power Word Kill, I think, is an 8th or 9th level spell that does what it says. You point at a thing and it has to make a saving throw, or it just is dead. Doesn't go to 0, it is gone forever. And Power Word Kill is a 2 mana, essentially a terror, but it does a lot of kind of like what Victim of Night does, where it doesn't let you there's a couple of creatures that can survive it. You got your big dragons, your demons, your angels, and your devils that can survive it, and that's about it. And I think that's such a flavorful thing, those iconic magic spells from D&D: Power Word Kill, Power Word Stun, Magic Missile, Druid Craft, Thaumaturgy, Prestidigitation. Those are the kinds of effects we're going to get in this set, and I love it.
Power Word Kill, for those who don't know or are listening, is a black and a generic mana for an uncommon instant that destroys target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon creature. So basically, I think, as I've been told in the books, it's about destroying a humanoid creature. Is that essentially why they have the non-non-non?
So the way that Power Word Kill works is that you say up the power word, you utter a word of power, and it essentially compels the creature that you can see to die instantly. If it has the requisite threshold of hit points remaining. So if it's got too many hit points left, it doesn't. I think it's 100 hit points, where if it has over 100 hit points, it doesn't die. But if I say death and it has 99 hit points, it dies.
Wow. Well, the last here is Prosperous Innkeeper, our first ever halfling creature.
Citizen.
I know. Yeah, for a green and a generic mana, it's a 1/1 uncommon creature, halfling citizen. Both halfling and citizen. When it enters the battlefield, you create a treasure token, which is an artifact with tap, sack it to add 1 mana of any color. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. So it's just kind of cool and flavorful. It kind of gets you from 2 to 4. It's a little bit of a mana ramp, but it's a lot of flavor in terms of hey, this is a halfling, and he's there to kind of run the inn and do the D&D thing.
I love the flavor of this. I am sad that we didn't have halflings before. I'm interested to see what happens with halflings, specifically with Kithkin.
I was going to say, this means kind of like the death of Kithkin, right? Because Kithkin was supposed to be Magic's halfling.
Magic's halflings. So are they gonna errata every old Kithkin into halflings now?
Probably not. It's still a tribe, right?
I hope they do.
It's just like merfolk. They have their own
gnomes.
Thing. Maybe? Or gnomes.
I don't know. Anyway, I would
Ron
like
would be
it
amazing.
if they updated it so that I could play Wizensen in my Halfling deck.
Oh, we're getting to the errata stuff. Let me tell you, the stuff that I'm most excited about is coming a little bit later. But do note, here comes Tiamat, right? Is that how you say it?
Tiamat, yeah. You can
Tiamat?
say Tiamat.
That's right, I
but
can,
you
ladies and
can't
gentlemen.
say Mas Fuerte.
Can't do it. Tiamat is a green, a red, a black, a blue, a white, and 2 generic mana. So 7 mana for a 7/7 mythic legendary dragon god. A dragon
She's a
god.
lady.
That's
She is a lady.
A flying, yes, she flying,
Whoa,
and
whoa,
when
whoa.
Tiamat enters the battlefield, if you cast it, search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle. That's
I
awesome.
mean, put them in your hand is still quite fair, considering this is Wizards. They could have easily just...
I was gonna
This
say-
is Wizards. They could have easily just been like, right on the
just put it on the
battlefield.
battlefield.
To heck with it.
Yeah. So 7 mana, 5/5, draw 5 from your deck. Now, obviously, it has to be nameless inversions and dragons, but like whatever. It's still dope. Tiamat,
dope.
by the way, there are 2 big dragon gods. There is Tiamat, the god of chromatic dragons, as pictured here. She is the 5-headed dragon goddess of evil dragons. And then there's Bahamut, who is the platinum dragon, the god of metallic dragons and good dragons. Hopefully we get a Bahamut, or a Bahamut, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But Tiamat is an excellent
Hey,
start.
you have to tell me how to say it, man. I'm going to screw it up.
Bahamut.
Bahamut.
No Tiamat,
Bahamut?
no shade.
Tiamat, yeah. And the other thing about Tiamat is when 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons first came out, we had Lost Minds of Phandelver, and then we had some other mini adventures. But the first real big, one of the first real big adventure books was Rise of the Dragon Queen, which was all about fighting against Tiamat. So it's nice to bring her into the fold.
And check out this extended art version, which looks amazing.
Oh, good
Fantastic
heavens.
work by Tyler Jacobson.
Yeah, and the fact that we're getting cool new D&D art from Magic artists is another just awesome side effect, Like, we're going to get D&D art from Seth McKinnon, from Magali, from, all of our faves, and it's going to be... It's just amazing.
Something I mentioned was that Tyler Jacobson actually illustrates a lot of the D&D covers.
Yeah.
And so this kind of works into that
I think Tyler
style.
Jacobson did the Player's Handbook, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it around me.
Well,
But
check out these incredible frame treatments. Oh my God. This classic rulebook frame treatment looks absolutely incredible.
Be still my heart. All I want are
my God.
only these in across every possible spell. I want just paper, old that good paper.
You know, the
that
font?
That
You know,
good paper. Yeah, with the nice old fonts. Yeah, it looks like it was written on the back of a scrap piece of paper in 1971. Yeah, I love this concept is amazing.
I don't know how far they're going to go with is it Times New Roman with the little sort of typewriter-esque swatches of characters, but I love what I've seen so far. This looks incredible.
It's I hope we get the red text for the numbers and the different the bolding for the different abilities would be dope. I just think this is fantastic.
The more they lean in, the better, and I can
Yes,
only
correct.
hope that they've leaned in as far as they can. So one of the things they mentioned here is hey, here's the product outline. So you see draft boosters in front of you, and we'll talk more about this later. But if you would like any of these, please pre-order them now, because there won't be any by the time it releases in paper, which by the way was
draft
pushed.
boosters?
Oh yes, which by the way was pushed back a week because Wave's arms around or whatever. But again, draft boosters are in serious low supply, and that is still true with Modern Horizons 2. That seems to definitely still be true with D&D from everything I've heard so far. So get those orders in if you want any at all. But if you want some set boosters, they got you covered, y'all. We got set boosters for days because that's the way you do it. We got the Dnd Collector Boosters, which, again, I love this look. That's incredible.
I mean, the old school black and white monster manual stuff.
Drawn.
I'm just such a sucker for that. And if you're going to do the Magic D&D crossover, you got to lean into the old, the grognards, right? You want to lean into that tradition and embrace the original archetypes and the original styling, and this is the best way to do it.
I'm curious why they kind of bother calling the yearly Commander set at this point the Commander set, because they're releasing 4 more Commander decks with the D&D set. They just made 5 for Strixhaven. Like, making 4 more is not that crazy. Anyway, so they've named them. So the 4 decks are named Aura of Courage, Dungeons of Death, Draconic Rage, and Planar Portal. Also, something they mentioned quite a bit was about dungeons. Like, there would be dungeons in Magic somehow.
Okay, sure.
Which
so
I'm all
the
about.
definition of a dungeon for Dungeons and Dragons is not the definition of a dungeon where Aaron used to work. The definition of that was a really good joke, and I appreciate you laughing at it. The dungeon in Dungeons and Dragons refers to a hollowed out cavern of some kind, typically monster or humanoid made, that is underground. So we're not talking like jail cells. It would be it would be like Pokemon stadiums in the original Pokemon game, probably. World enchantments would be a good example of how I would imagine that they could do dungeons for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I'm curious if they have like maybe levels. Remember, like the level mechanic, the level up mechanic type stuff would be really cool. So you'd have to go through it sort of like phases of them and bigger challenges or something.
That's cool.
There's a variety of ways they could make it, work thematically. I'm sure they did a good job. But either way, this to me is like, why are we calling it Commander 21 when it's just like the Strixhaven Commander decks? Here's the Dungeons and Dragons Commander decks. It's not really necessary. Anyway, they do have one more card here. Their buy a box promo for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms is Vorpal Sword. This is apparently big time lore in D&D.
So Vorpal Sword is like an iconic old Magic item where if you crit with it and you put a monster to 0, you cut its head off. That's like what a Vorpal Sword does, and it goes snicker snack like it does in the Bandersnatch, and that's what a Vorpal Sword does. And the fact that you get that effect on an equipment is super cool.
It's definitely cool. The way they made that thematically, Vorpal Sword is 1 black mana for a rare artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Death Touch. You can equip it for 2 black mana. But also it has 3 black mana and 5 generic mana, so 8 mana total. Until end of turn, it gains whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. The end. Not you have to activate this as a sorcery or something, but if you're able to get in, maybe make up a whole bunch of mana, and then oops, I Vorpal Sworded you.
I love it.
That's it. That's the game.
I wish that they'd given this to Amy Vorpal, who is a Dungeons and Dragons, and I think she plays Magic, but she's like a host from Nerdist and stuff like that. And she's played Magic on a couple of those things, but her last name is Vorpal, so I would have liked for her to get the Vorpal Sword. But
nice.
Here we are.
Oh, there you go.
I do want to, before we move on to the next topic, because I see we're winding down at the end of that page, I do want to go back a little bit. We did get 2 additional previews from Modern Horizons 2. We did get Brainstorm. I don't know if you have the graphics for that, Evan. And then we also got a Diamond Lion as well, which I thought was pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Diamond Lion and you go, Aaron, Diamond Lion. Aaron, how many people sent you Diamond Lion?
I got a couple notifications for Diamond Lion. So I don't know, Evan, do you have
I do.
Okay. So Diamond Lion, 2 colorless artifact creature cat. Tap it, discard your hand, sacrifice Diamond Lion. You add 3 mana of any one color. Activate only as an instant. This is basically Modern's answer to Lion's Eye Diamond, kind of like how we saw Cabal Therapist in Modern the last time around. And so this does have a couple of disadvantages. You do have to pay for it, which is a bummer. It's also a creature, so it does have summoning sickness, and it can be killed before you get a chance to untap with it and do what you need to do. But the fact that we even have something close to Lion's Eye Diamond in Modern, I think is really, really cool. I was kind of fantasizing about using this in Modern ad nauseum as just being one of the many mana rocks that you deploy. You cast ad nauseum, in response you crack it, and there's your Lightning Storm. And so I'll leave that to the brewers, but it was still really exciting to see. And then of course we have Brainstorm, which is an artifact version of Brainstorm. I love sort of the dopey looking art on it. I have a couple EDH decks that are really going to like this card, and I was just really, really nice to see.
Yeah, Brainstorm is 1 generic mana for an uncommon artifact that says 2 generic mana, tap, sack it, draw 3 cards, and put 2 cards from your hand back on top of your library in any order.
Love it.
So, yeah, and also another thing that is kind of interesting, it's a little tiny thing, but note that Diamond Lion says activate only as an instant.
Yeah, that's the errata of Lion's Eye Diamond put onto Diamond Lion, because otherwise you could do the old chromatic sphere trick where you would be like declaration. So the way that you cast a spell, ladies and gentlemen, is there's like nines. Listen up, children. Here's how you cast a spell. There's like 9 steps, and step I think 1 is declaration of casting the spell, and then step 5 is pay mana. So if it didn't have that thing where it says activate only as an instant, and you could do it as a mana source, you could use the lion mana to play spells from your hand.
Right. You could say, put this on the stack, use this as the mana source for it. It's a weird, tiny rules thing, but those are the things I kind of enjoy at this point.
Yeah,
just
but
find
it's nice that it
clarifies
clarifies it for the rules people, and, it makes sense. I'm really excited for Diamond Lion for my Itali Brawl decks, that I can start attacking people with my Itali on turn 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a really cool day worth of previews. Now, right here, as we'll get to this in just a second, first of all, they said they're making more Secret Lair. No one is surprised. Sure. Moving on. This is awesome. This is legitimately like high five, Encore Wizards, as much crap as we give them. This is a brilliant, fantastic idea. God bless y'all. They say, love your local game store with legendary play. First of all, they are reopening Sanctioned Magic play for the United States on May 28th.
That's a big deal, folks.
Now, that is subject to, your state's guidelines and your local guidelines and things like that. The CDC just announced that cases are down 11% from last week, so the nation as a whole appears to be doing quite well. There are certain states that appear to be doing worse than others, but this does appear to be an appropriate response to what's happening, and hopefully stores and areas are in a position to do this. And I'm excited to just go back and play Commander on a Saturday with my friends and eat Little Debbie cakes and, drink sodas and then go out for barbecue afterwards. Like, that's all I want. Like, I'm a simple girl.
So go get vaccinated. Please
go get vaccinated.
If you can, please go now. So
today is my 2 weeks, so I'm officially all done.
Me too. Ben, we've all been. I think we're all good.
We're all fully marinated.
So do you want to come over and play Commander?
I don't know. I gotta.
Can't be bothered. Okay.
All right.
I don't know if I want to deal with an Itali that you're bringing out on turn 3.
That's fair.
He's that guy. All right. Well, look. One of the things they did here is that they have a foil old bordered fabled passage. This thing is already hot fire. Okay, we're already on hot fire status. But how do you get it? Well, look, beginning June 18th, or when sanctioned play returns to local stores near you, purchase $50 or more of sealed Magic product to get this promo for free. This thing is fantastic. And so they'll have, apparently, as more opportunities to play arrive, they'll have 5 more foil retro frame promo cards available through in-store play. Of course, you'll have to wait to see what those are. But this is incredible. As a sales driver, as a reason to go out to your friendly local game store, as the ability for them to create events, for example, that would have a $50 buy-in and maybe you get a bundle or something and you get the promo and stuff and some prizes on top of it. The ability for this to have a store give something, like have Wizards give something directly back to stores. This isn't like a Secret Lair from the Vault thing where they switched up and you give it to Wizards now. No, this is a purely gift to them, and this is amazing. Wizards, thank you. This is incredible. This is absolutely fantastic.
This is a very clean answer to a problem that they had, which was, how do we get people to want to buy from our friendly local game stores? Support your friendly local game store, while still coming out with new products that are also Target exclusives and Walmart exclusives. And, this was even before all the run on all the stores for collectibles that happened during the last 6 to 9 months. This is a very clean answer to that. You don't need to make a new product. All you have to do is reward people for buying the products they already buy at the local game stores. It's a very clean answer, and it's just a brilliant solution.
And some people know, first of all, that there's not always a local game store near you, or maybe there was and it closed down, like we just talked about like a week or two ago, and that all of course sucks. And yes, this would have been amazing if we were talking about this in 2020 as a way to kind of get people through and doing curbside pickup or whatever to make it happen. But the point is, this does exist, and this is fantastic. And Wizards did not have to do this. This was a complete surprise, and I just love it. Now, obviously, the way that they could make this go poorly is by only giving like each store 10 or something, but regarding that this should be absolutely amazing and is a fantastic idea. So all right, one more thing they mentioned, and this again, another fantastic great thing they're doing. Thank you, Wizards. They're giving the Mystery Booster Convention Edition to stores to be able to get and or play with these in store. These are the ones with the test cards worth $1 bajillion.
Yeah.
So these are the good.
Eldrazi Sliverstrosity or whatever. Sliver Eldrastrosity. And like the Beeble Planeswalker and stuff like that. Yeah, which all those are worth like crazy dumb money. And obviously those values will go down a little bit because now we have more product coming out. But again,
Those silly cards are only found in this, and they're given to WPN stores, and that is fantastic. So again, terrific to do that. Obviously, they're going to tell you go play Magic Arena, but hey, look, new cards coming to Historic Anthology, May 27th, 25 new cards. Wizards. Why are we bringing cards like Whirler Rogue into Historic like it's going to literally do absolutely anything after you gave us Mizzix's Mastery and friggin' Brainstorm and Faithless Looting?
Cut 2-3 weeks from now when Whirler Rogue is like winning all the tournaments.
Yeah,
JK.
top of the meta. Lol. Like Vorinclex, at least I can see you're ramping into silliness or whatever.
And you also get to play it in Historic Brawl. Like that one I get. Whirler Rogue is like,
it's fine. It's fine. I don't know. It seems weird sometimes when they choose those card images. But there's a lot of really cool stuff happening. They're bringing back Jumpstart to MTG Arena, so if you missed that last summer, jump back in. It's super fun.
Which was
I played the hell out of it.
amazing. I love Jumpstart.
I played the hell out of it. It was absolutely fantastic. And of course, there's going to be July 31st. They're going to have another arena open, so another 2K possibly at your hands in there. But here, this is the announcement. This is the one. I've discussed this. I've talked about it, tweeted about it. We've had conversations about it. I've ranted about it. And oh my God, Wizards is doing an event. They say a short but exciting event. I don't care. Called Mirror Mirror. Imagine a world where Oko, Thief of Crowns, was printed with balanced abilities and became just another great historic card. What if Teferi Time Raveler wasn't terrible to play kind of with and against in many ways?
Yeah.
Miserably miserable. What if they fixed some of this stuff? What if they fixed some of these cards that were just too good for what they made and turned them into something else? And again, they can go as far down this as they want. As in, we officially eroded the cards. When we reprint them, they have the new abilities versus the old abilities. You just have to know that they're updated. That's Magic. That is what that is. I don't know. I don't care. I feel like the idea of creating sort of the fixed version, the perfect ideal of what you wanted that card to be, you can do in Historic, because at that point it's kind of off to the digital prairie. You're kind of letting it just live. Just let them live.
So I like this idea. My only quibble is that I don't know what this has to do with mirrors. Like when I think mirrors, I think a copy of something. True. I thought this might have been like a two-headed giant event, like two of something. I'm not really sure, because what you look at in a mirror comes back to you, and so I'm just like, what does this have to do with changing?
It is.
But there's something to do with fairy tales, and mirrors show like weird versions of yourself.
It is a weird spot to use the event title Mirror Mirror. Right?
It's an alternate universe. I get it.
It's fine. I get it.
Mirror universe.
I get it. It's also like not the ideal place to use.
It's not the ideal place.
The name
I don't
Mirror
care.
Mirror. I understand the quibble, but
I'm excited
for the errata the format. See what happens if we had 4-mana Oko and whatever. So that's gonna be cool.
So a couple people in the chat. Apparently we have a lot of Star Trek fans on tonight, which I love. Several people in the chat were like, it's like a mirror universe version. Which since you put it that way, I'm on board with that.
Only if they put evil goatees on all of the cards. That get mirror universe
like
versions.
Dark Rowan and Will, love it. Yeah.
Only if they get the super dark Spock goatee.
I'm so in.
Like
Garrick's like a pacifist.
I mean, I certainly know and have spoken to different developers and designers over the years, and like, they don't want to get it wrong. They don't want to have something that's like a mistake forever. And this is something they've always been jealous of for the Hearthstones or whatever the world. They tweak stuff constantly, like 3 or 4 different updates per set or whatever.
Yeah.
Now Wizards gets a chance to do that. I want to play the fixed Oko. I can't wait. I am so pumped for this.
Right.
I've pitched it. I thought about it, and here we are. I am jazzed. All right. Let's see here. Moving on here real quickly to Gather the Townsfolk. Not a ton of stuff to talk about this week, but we did have an interesting post here on Twitter. Aaron, tell us a little bit about mental health.
Yeah, so there's been a bit of a trend happening lately using the hashtag Mental Health MTG, which appears to have been started by my friend Hobbs Q of the Goblin Lore podcast, where people are just sort of chiming in about how they maintain their mental health, things that are good for their mental health. And so, and everybody's sort of sharing their experiences. And I know for me, I've been in therapy for about 10 years. I've had 2 therapists at two I can count. I've had two therapists at various points, one to deal with like trans-related issues and one to deal with regular issues. And within the last 6 months or so, I even called in a third just because there were specific things I wanted to focus on that I felt like the other two really didn't specialize in. And so it takes a lot to keep the good ship Campbell afloat. And there are many creators that our lives are very weird. Being a public figure is very weird. It comes with some very weird, some very unique situations you find yourself in and some unique struggles. And just making it through a pandemic is very stressful. And so, we're all just sort of putting it all out there that, it's nothing to be ashamed of. We all need a little bit of help. And we're all being very open about the ways that we take care of ourselves. And, if you have the means, because that is something we do need to talk about, that it's very easy to be like, go to therapy, but like therapy's expensive. And so we need to be honest about that. And so it's really just a case of people being very open with their struggles and, reminding people that they're not alone and just showing, what it takes to keep us going. Because we live in a very Instagram world where everything appears very perfect and very curated, but we're all kind of falling apart to various degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, therapy is a very important part of my life. Speaking to a therapist and taking part in supporting mental health is a very important thing, especially as we've all been super separated from most of our friends and family for the better part of 16 months, and we will for another several. And so being a paragon for bringing the community together, Hobbs has helped institute this hashtag and bringing about some good conversations. So go ahead and search the hashtag, which is Mental Health MTG on Twitter and other social media to join in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that you may be dealing with depression or anxiety or ADHD, dyslexia, stuff like that. I mean, all of those things make up people, and it's not. It's sometimes it's a struggle, and sometimes it's easier, and sometimes it's a lot harder. So
that reminds me, I have my meds here. I'll take those.
Well, there you go.
If you haven't taken your meds, everybody, take your meds.
These make me sleepy, so
Okay.
I like to take them at night. But we're getting close to the end of the show, so
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Take 'em now.
All right. So there was moving on here to Desperate Ravens. It's time to complain about some stuff. Woo! Moving on to
We would
Desperate
never.
Ravens. I know, us? Seriously? The other day, they had a bug that was found on MTG Arena.
I ran into this. I was like, why does my opponent get to scry 3 when they play the Thassasaurus? Oh, they have a face-down search for Azcanta. It's like, why is my opponent's Heliod getting to attack? Oh, they have a Legion's Landing that flipped into the first fort. And it's like, why? How is this a thing that's a problem? And the funny thing is that they were like, we don't really have time to fix it right now. We're just going to ban these 6 cards. For the time being, we're just going to not let you play them. Nicol Bolas and then the 5 flip enchantments from Ixalan. It's a clever fix. It's a good hot fix, right? Like, this is just like...
It
was almost universally panned, though. Like, I saw
it's hilariously bad.
It's just not good. Yeah.
This is, and again, to be clear, they're going to have a league weekend coming up, and they don't want, anything weird to happen or a game to be, decided by a bug or whatever, because that sucks.
Right.
An incorrect interaction. So, they decided that the 11 cards currently on your screen, this would be in the 5 flip from Ixalan, the 5 flips from Rivals Ixalan, Nicol Bolas, the Ravager from Core Set 2019.
Sure.
They have the incorrect interaction, and so things that care about them won't work properly. And some of the other cards, like for example, like Seagate Restoration doesn't have that problem. Shatter Skull doesn't have that problem. And so the team is currently on track to have this interaction corrected ahead of the Strixhaven Championship taking place June 4th through 6th, which is again, this is about a month out, which I understand. So let me be clear about this. I understand that creating software, particularly a game that is a living being, it's like the airplane's in motion, you can't necessarily just stop and fix all the things. I totally understand that. What I was pointing out on Twitter, because I got a little snarky, but I was pointing out on Twitter, which was, this is how high of a priority Wizards puts on organized play. Now, it's 11 days out from the event. And yes, what could have happened is the people who made the cards said, "Hey, if you have me fix this bug, I can't make the cards, for the upcoming set." And they said, "Just make the cards. We'll deal with it."
Yeah,
and this is dealing with it, and that's okay. That's totally a choice they can make, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was just trying to sort of highlight, look, this isn't a high priority for Wizards, and we've talked about how organized play has gotten less and less important to Wizards, and this is a really clear indication of like they care about it. But they're not really going to stop the train and, make sure this thing is fixed before we keep continuing doing the rest of our stuff.
This is a chewing gum fix. This is like something's rattling on my car as I'm driving 70 down the highway. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to stop the car to make it stop rattling. I'm just going to bang the dashboard and hope that works. And failing that, I'm going to slow my car down a little bit so that it rattles a little bit less. But they're not going to stop everything, fix these cards, and make everything work again. I think this is a fine hot fix. It's okay. It is a little weird that they don't have, they can't fix this in 11 days, but whatever.
Right. And again, I understand that nothing is always, particularly in software, nothing is as simple as it sounds.
Right.
Things take time. They've had employees come and go, which cause problems with documentation and people not knowing how things used to work or do work or whatever. So things change, and it's very difficult, and I'm not saying it's not. So high five to the team. I know it's hard. I know it was a tough decision, and it's never good to kind of come out and be like, I know this is kind of embarrassing, but now you can't play 3 or 4 decks in the format because they relied on having these cards in your deck. Oopsies, but that's just kind of where we're at. Something that came up on Twitter this past week, which was someone's like, yo, I live talking to my European friends, and when they switch their account from US dollars to euros, everything's 20% more expensive. Ooh. Because the euro values stay the same. It's $49.99 US. Yep. You switch it to euros, it's still $49.99 euros, which means it's about 20% more expensive than you would otherwise. And this has to do with taxes. Yeah. In that you have a value-added tax that they're adding in there.
The VAT. Which, of course,
the VAT, which we don't need when it comes to America.
Right. So it's close to the same value ultimately, because the dollars gets the VAT added, and the pound, or not the pounds, the euros gets the VAT included. So it's a close value, and all video games kind of have to deal with this, right? It's not just an exclusively Magic issue. It is odd that it took this long for anyone to notice.
It's kind of silly in many ways. You just be like, nope, just change to USD. Thanks. I'm going to save 20% from here on out.
Certainly figure out your value and log on to whataarecurrenciesworthtoday.com.
Or,
check on your Doge prices and then be like, oh, here's how much a dollar's worth. And then, switch to euros when it's in your favor.
Yeah, gotta check that Doge every day. That's what we do. Move on here really quickly to some splash damage. I was definitely excited to hear that filming has officially begun on the D&D movie.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that's a real movie. That's big bucks.
They actually started, which we were like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant is in there. These are stars.
And the hot guy from Bridgerton. Okay.
Yes.
And the hot guy from Bridgerton.
I don't know. I kind of have similar. I mean, the original is kind of like the original Mortal Kombat for me, in that it's so bad it's good, and it's I don't know. Do I want a good Dungeons and Dragons movie? I don't know.
We don't know if we're gonna get a good Dungeons
right. I'm
and
just
Dragons
having
movie.
kind of mixed feelings about this. Where it's
sure.
If this goes directly to a streaming service, it's probably terrible.
See, for me though, the deciding factor, as it usually is with these kinds of movies, is what are the wigs like? Did you see that they posted pictures from the Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones one, yeah, who famously have not approved Aaron
approved wigs.
My
not
God,
okay.
They're still not putting any money on those heads. The Matt Smith wig is terrible. The wig What's Her Nuts is wearing is terrible. For the love of God, put some of that money in your wigs. It's not hard.
Can't do it. We need
Almost What's Her Nuts got an Emmy last year.
In dragons.
Oh, I've even got my boyfriend doing it now. We started watching Downton Abbey, and he's like, "That's a wig," and I'm like, "I've never been prouder."
So what you need to do is you need to be like the original Dungeons and Dragons movie, where the bad guy is just completely shaven. No wig.
That's a great way to get around wig. Absolutely.
Yeah, and there have been multiple D&D movies for those
and the Blue
who don't know.
Yeah,
Lordy, it goes pretty crazy. But either way, they're making a new one, and fingers crossed it doesn't suck. So let's turn the corner here to the finisher. This week was the 50th anniversary of NPR, otherwise known as National Public Radio. You should all know that. If you're not listening to it, listen to it. The nonprofit broadcasting company inspired many parts of Magic Media, not the least of which is the finisher itself, which is inspired by Wait, Don't Tell Me, the NPR news quiz. 50 years is a long time, but Magic Mike's is almost 12% of the way there. So with all things considered, what other items could we borrow from NPR, Ruben?
Well, Magic players and NPR listeners are similar in that they're both smart, thoughtful, and above all, patient. So we're proud to announce our latest project in association with some of Magic's best artists, where we commentate paint drying, which is exhilarating content, compared at least to playing against Teferi Control in Historic.
It's about the same.
Nice. Nice. Aaron?
So NPR's merch game is really good, and we can definitely follow along. So I'm looking forward to our next Kickstarter with the new Magic Mike's tote bag. So can we make one too? Totally.
Totally. Hey, y'all. You come to Magic Mike's and the NPR for very specific reasons. Unbiased reporting, expert analysis, breaking news, and coming soon, classical music. So we're proud to announce our newest Magic Mike's program, our 3.5-hour weekly block of Baroque chamber music, acoustic mics. For when you want to sit back, relax, and not get mana screwed for a while. That's what, acoustic mics. Just kind of hang out.
That's right.
It's all right. Nice. Well, that ends the live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Ruben.
Hey, thanks everybody for hanging out and for all the gift subs and for all the love and support that you show us. And we'll see you next week.
We certainly appreciate it. Now, move to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffing.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com, and our newest sponsor, Alter Sleeves. Get yours at altersleeves.com/magicmikes and check out their Kickstarter. My co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler, you guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv @magicmikes, our Twitter @magicmikescast, our Magic Mike subreddit, and like the Magic Mike's page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mike's. Good night, everybody.